So, hello Vincent.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Vincent. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Austria, and I'm in the second semester of Business and Economics. Yeah.
Yeah. And in your year, OSA was graded for the first time, so they introduced this thing that they can grade it in case too many people get the same spot. They can use it as a decisive factor. But how was it in your year? Was it used for that?
I think in my year it wasn't used, so I did the entrance exam last year, and they say it's just used if two students score exactly the same score on the entrance exam, if they need like different assessment criteria. But I think in my year it wasn't used.
Yeah.
But I mean, it depends. We cannot say for sure if it's used this year or not.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
said they expect more applicants than last year, so you
Exactly.
never know.
Yeah.
If 10 people get to 140th spot, and then how can they decide?
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. And when you took the OSA, how did you take it? Did you take it in May or in March? So did you take it early on, later on?
I took it on the end of May, so rather late. But I tried to study like the script before and like make myself familiar with the math terms, the math topics. You can find a list on the website with all the relevant topics. So I just tried to prepare first and then do the OSA, and then like to get a like a view on how are you standing for the entrance exam, if I have to study more
Yeah.
or if my knowledge is like sufficient for the entrance exam. But of course the OSA was easier than the entrance exam, so don't expect it like the same difficulty. But on the OSA it was less time, I think.
Yeah.
So it is more stressful to complete all the tasks. Yeah, especially for the English part, it was I think 10 questions
Yeah.
consisting of 5 statements each in
That's
just 15 minutes. So that was very stressful to complete
yeah.
everything.
And Vincent, he also saved his report basically. So let's say the first part of English, text and reading comprehension was fine, but then you can see like you were running out of time slowly for the vocabulary part.
Yeah.
So 15 minutes is not enough to do it properly. So just try to streamline it as
Yeah.
maybe don't pay too much attention, let's say, on the tiny detail because you don't think you have time for that.
Yeah.
Just in general, if you answer well, if you get above 80%, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because for English, only practice.
Exactly.
Read English texts, read
Yeah.
articles, learn new vocabulary, because there you don't know. Like you can never predict if you know the text, if you know the word. If you don't know the word, it's just up to your
Yeah.
overall, I think, level of English. And of course, you have to improve it day by day, especially if it's not your native language.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Especially make yourself familiar with the math terms, because if English is not your native language, like you might confuse some math terms, and so make sure you understand every term. And also for the economic terms, just read through the script, make yourself familiar, and then it should be fine.
Yeah, and with economic questions, a lot of people say that some of them are outside of the book. Was it the case for you?
Yeah, it was actually. I think they just test your general knowledge of economics. So not only the content in the book is required, also like things out of the book.
Yeah.
But I would recommend to read the script first before you do the OSA, so you have like a general idea of what economics and business is about. And yeah, also read business newspapers,
Yeah.
magazines, read the news, so you know what's going on in the business world.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is definitely my advice.
Yeah, because the questions were rather general. So like
Yeah.
people who took it also this year were chatting about it and said the questions are fine, they're easy. It's not that difficult to complete it.
Yeah.
But yes, don't be thrown off because you know that on the exam it's just only based on the book. But on the OSA, for some reason, it's not just
Yeah.
based on the book. But it's not something that you will not know. Let's say if it's about general things like progressive tax, most people know what progressive tax system
Yeah.
is. So don't be afraid of that. And yeah.
I think the ask thing, yeah, like you said, progressive tax. Last year it was also about opportunity cost, like the role of the Federal Reserve. What is a break-even point, like this
Yeah.
general knowledge. things which are not too difficult.
Yeah. So if you know
Yeah.
econ in general, you
Yeah.
should be fine. And what
Yeah.
about the mathematics part?
The mathematics part for the OSA was okay, I would say.
Mhm.
It was, at least for me, it was enough time to complete all the tasks. There were 6 questions consisting each of 5 statements, and you have 20 minutes for the OSA, for the math part.
Mhm.
I think the level of difficulty was okay.
Mhm.
Definitely easier than the entrance exam,
Yeah.
obviously.
Of
but
course, yes.
yeah, I would just recommend to practice a bit before the OSA. Also have a look at the Austrian matura examples,
Mhm.
especially the part 2 examples, which are more difficult than part 1.
But part to be careful there because there is
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that you don't need.
Yeah, of course.
Like vectors,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
trigonometry, no. But you can, let's say, if you finished everything that you could, part 2 is fun to practice with.
Yeah.
But don't get, like, if you don't know how to navigate, part 1 is like
Yeah,
still
just
the.
focus on the topics on the website. There's a list of all required topics,
Mhm.
and just focus on these.
Yeah, so study mathematics. If you're studying by yourself, it's of course the OSA and the topic list. If you're studying, let's say with me, then you have all the topics covered. So please just go through them before taking the OSA because it's a great extra knowledge check. So to
Exactly.
say, like, if you rush it and take it, let's say now in March, April, 1st of April, 2nd of April, then maybe you haven't covered, you don't, like, it's not the knowledge issue, it's just the issue that you haven't covered it yet. So you can also just wait a bit, cover everything and use it. And there's also going to be a feedback report where
Yeah.
they tell you about, okay, this is how you did, this is good, this is excellent, this is below average, whatever. And then you can adjust your time dedicated to studying according
Yeah.
to the feedback. But yeah, don't over focus on the OSA too much, I think. Like still focus on the exam
Yeah.
because that's the important part. Like if you get like a place that's very high, let's say 100 and up or 200 and up, you don't really mind if someone got the same score
Yeah.
as you, even if they move up or down. You're still accepted.
I think the OSA is just like more for yourself
Yeah,
to get an idea if BBE is the right study for you, if it fits your interests, if it's the right choice. So just if it meets your expectations, and yeah, I think this is the main purpose of the OSA.
Yeah. And as you scored rather high on the entrance exam last year, are there any tips and tricks you would like to share with people?
Yeah, I mean, just I would recommend to make yourself familiar with all the topics. Read through the entrance exam script at least 2 or 3 times. Take some notes. Make sure you understand every term, especially the accounting terms were very important last year. And yeah, for the English part, just listen to English podcasts, read English newspapers, read magazines, watch English movies. I mean, this depends, of course, on your knowledge. And math also, just make yourself familiar with all the topics
you
there.
have to learn them, yes.
Yeah.
You can really shortcut them, yes.
Yeah.
And for the mathematics, also stay tuned because I also posted a few examples of how the tasks usually look like based on what I made in the course and exam simulation, just in case you're wondering, because the matura tasks are still a bit easier than the ones on the entrance exam. So you can use them as a basis if you're studying by yourself, but please also keep in mind that the level is going to be higher, so you have to spend more time on that.
Yeah.
And regarding timing, do you remember your strategy approximately in the note-taking feature? And like, did you do it fast?
Yeah, I think for the entrance exam, it was like half of the time I used for the English and economics part, and half of the time I used for the math part.
Yeah.
Because it is obviously the most difficult one, and so you should also spend most time on the math part. I did the English part first. Then the economics part, just try to go fast through the questions. Do not waste too much time there because you will need it for the math part.
Yes.
And if you're not sure about anything, just make a guess and do not think like forever for this one question. Just make sure you have enough time for the math part. Yeah, this is my main advice regarding time management. Yeah, and also make yourself familiar with the WISEflow environment. So there are 2 mock exams. So I would definitely.
I'll just quickly check. Would you continue? Yeah. Just to check if it's
So there are 2 mock exams. I would definitely encourage you to make use of those, because you can get like a feeling of how the WISEflow platform works. There's an integrated calculator
Yeah.
and like a notepad, and so you're not allowed to use pen and paper during the exam. So you have to use the notepad and make notes with your mouse, which is actually really annoying.
Yeah. People like, okay, you know, pen and paper were like the oldest things ever used in schools. But like, nope, not pen and paper this time.
So just make sure you understand how the WISEflow platform works, and therefore I would just use the mock exam.
Yeah, please, because at least the calculator and the sticky note feature and everything.
Yeah.
Because they like the first mock exam, I think it's just general questions, random ones.
Yeah.
But second one is closer to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of has questions in exam format, 5 statements. So yeah, please have those 2 days marked in your calendar to take them. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck with your studies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And also, we almost forgot to mention that Vincent, so he was very kind to agree that we can text him on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'll put his Instagram bio here. Yeah, so he was also my student, so he's really open to help you out if you're also studying for the exam now. And
yeah, if you have any questions, just text me on Instagram. I'm happy to help you, give you some advice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very kind of you. Hello. So, and this is obviously a cut. And a quick question: how did you prepare for the entrance exam, and was the difficulty of matura enough?
No, I would say the entrance exam is definitely more difficult than the Austrian matura. I mean, of course, part 1 of the matura is very easy, and I mean, you could use part 2 as a kind of preparation, but I would also encourage you to do the math exercises in the course.
At the end,
you know, especially at the end of chapter, because those are actually pretty similar to those in the entrance exam. So just make these questions, and also for the economics part, do not just read through the script. Also make sure you answer all the questions in the course, because they were pretty similar to those in the entrance exam. So. Yeah.
So your goal is to practice as many of those questions as I can. Please do that, because I spend a lot of time on them. So don't let it go to waste. And your goal is to solve them within like 5 to 7 to 8 minutes per question, because that's kind of a real timing of the exam. So yeah,
exactly.
Just extra study motivation for you. Thank you for watching.